Welcome to TST Gaming. I'm your host, Mike Smith, and I'm joined by my co host, John Haycock.
Hi.
And in this episode, we're going over the brand new information from E3 for the upcoming game, Halo Infinite. So, E3, one of my favorite times of year, comes around. I actually like to take the day off for work. Luckily, I didn't have to this year because it was on a weekend for Xbox, E3 specifically.
Yeah.
So, we're going to go ahead and talk and jump right into it. Campaign. They open up. They have Joe Staten, who actually worked on the original Halos.
And did ODST as well.
His last one that he did was
Hmm.
ODST, and then he moved on to Destiny. So he skipped Reach, but he did all the other Halos. And then also Bonnie Ross, who's been a part of 343 for a long time.
And of course,
And
I'm sure everybody knows it's the 20th anniversary. So,
yes, yes, and that's a big deal
yeah, definitely. I
because
mean,
I think it's going to launch on that day, November 15th. This year is what I'm predicting.
can you even remember when we first started doing this, like playing Halo?
Oh yeah. I remember the very first time I played Halo. It was Halo One at my old house in Clearfield, in Utah. Then I remember seeing the case. I'm like, that kind of sounds like a dumb game, Halo. True story. True story. Knowing me, you knowing me, that's crazy, right? And then my uncle and his best friend, who were living with us at the time, were playing it, and they're like, "Oh, you should play this game." I remember it was Halo One, Halo CE, the map Derelict, and my first kill was against a friend named Brian Park, and I don't remember what weapon or whatever, but I just remember the map, and just that feeling of, "Oh, I got someone," for that first time, because you got killed like 7 times before you got one
Oh yeah.
kill back then, because you were a noob. Um, but yeah, that
You a
was my.
noob?
Yeah, I
There
know.
there was actually a time when you didn't know how to play Halo?
Yeah, there was the four of us who played hardcore, and eventually I started working my way up through the ladder, and I got that guy, same guy, after like a year or two playing together. He was chucking controllers because he got so mad I'd beat him because I would just like we'd be playing on the same screen, and we'd be going around the map. Whenever he had overshield, I'd walk around wherever he wasn't, so that way his overshield would drain, and I would just make sure I'd only fight him when I had some sort of upper hand. And so, me, like it just I got better over time. What was your first experience with Halo? Since that kind of became what we kind of open up with, unintentionally.
Well, I remember we always owned the games. I believe it was Daniel and David, my two older brothers. Um, that was just like, oh yeah, let's play together, let's
Mm-hmm.
just play a fun game together. We basically did that, and then it just got bigger and bigger, and then we started hanging out with you, and
Yeah, I'm a
it
pretty big
just
Halo nerd.
progressed, and I am who I am.
Do you remember anything specific about the very first time you played it? Was it the campaign, multiplayer? Like,
It
what's your
was
earliest memory? I
I'm
should say.
multiplayer for sure.
Yeah.
Playing my earliest memory would probably be playing with you and David, uh, Halo 2. We always had those parties at my house.
Mm-hmm. Actually, my first memory of playing Halo with you is Halo 2 on the map Ascension, which was this giant
Yes.
island with a dish that would rotate in the middle and the
Yeah.
towers. That was my first memory of playing Halo with you, and I smoked you.
I don't like that map.
I love that map. All the remakes have been great of it, and if we see it in Infinite, I'll be happy. Yeah, so moving on from there. So for you guys who are just listening or watching, this is going to be a Halo exclusive podcast for the foreseeable future. Just because we're very excited for the Halo content. That's what created our clan, TST Gaming. And over the years, it's just kind of grown and evolved. And now we're doing a podcast. And so it's going to be focused on Halo. Maybe next year we'll see about adding another game or two, depending on where the gaming landscape looks like for more content. But right now, it is Halo focused. Just want to make sure if you're listening that you know that right out of the gate, so you know where to go to for your Halo content. So going back to what we see Joe Staten and Bonnie Ross introduce Halo, mention the 20-year anniversary, which is coming up in
Hmm.
November, which again I'm predicting will be the release date, which I thought was a little weird that they still said holiday 2021, not a specific date when we're 6 months out roughly from launch, regardless either way. What was your thoughts on that? Just seeing that we still don't have a release date being so close.
Well, there have been a few Halo games. I don't know if every Halo game has been released at that same time, but I can
September,
recall,
November,
yeah, I can recall a few of them being released around that time every single time.
and October for Halo 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was November, November. Just the main series, including Reach. November, November, September, September, November, October. I want to say, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. But I
Yeah.
was really so what was one of my I would put as a con of E3 if I had to put a thing in there that was a criticism. I expected a release date. Now it's a release date I think everyone's predicting because it's the 20th anniversary. But I
Right.
think they didn't want to set on that because they're still polishing the game. Um, but at the same time, it's like you got to release it. Then you can always do an update. Like let's be
Yeah.
honest. The fact that they also didn't do a beta right away was kind of a negative thing for me, which I thought was. But they did talk about it later that they're going to be doing a future beta.
Yeah, I
So
kind of
they
figured they
released
would have
that
waited
today.
until they actually announced it.
Well, the reason why I was saying that is because they've done betas in the past for roughly June, because the game comes out in the fall. That's enough time for players to get their hands on it.
Hmm.
They mentioned what they didn't like, what they liked, and then that gives the developers enough time to respond. Otherwise, if you do an open beta like a week or weekend before it comes out, you're just doing a stress test of the servers. You're not going to have enough time to adjust that. You're
Yeah.
not going to, in terms of like core gameplay mechanics. Um, so with it being not an instant beta like I thought it would be, like that was one of my predictions. We're going to get a beta announced, official beta,
Yeah.
which even when they did reveal that we are going to be getting some form of a beta internal test or whatever you want to call it, it's not even given a date. It's just at a future date. And so I thought that was a little interesting. But let's go back into the
Unless you're
campaign.
just trolling us. Like
That's
they
true.
actually have a date, they just haven't said it.
I'm sure they have a date in mind because they got to make sure they have all the production physically and everything like that. It was
And the
supposed to
thing
come
that
out
kind
last
of
year.
the thing that kind of worries me about that, now that you bring it up, is like, and we'll get to it, but all the contents that they explained as far as multiplayer goes, and even
Mhm.
just the campaign seems huge.
Yes, it does.
So I mean, how would they have that much time? Because they've only been in production for what, 3 years now, 4 years, something like that.
I don't know the exact production date. I know they spent a lot of time building the new engine, which is called, of course, I forget it right now. Slip Space. That's what it's called. That's basically what they call their hyperspace for Halo. It's called
Oh
Slip
yeah,
Space, and that's what they called the engine. I believe was Slip Space. So they spent a lot of time just developing an engine just for Halo. I don't know how much time was spent on that versus the game. I'm sure they had like some pre-production stuff, campaign ideas, multiplayer ideas. But I do want to point out before we go back into the E3 reveal, this is gonna be a game that's basically the first main Halo game in 6 years. That's the
yeah.
longest we've ever gone without a Halo game. Now, COVID did affect that, as well as they delayed this game due to E3 reactions from last year, which I didn't really have any problems with it. Some people didn't like the graphics and whatnot,
And
but
didn't they switch companies?
no. They switched creative directors. Joe Staten actually came back in after E3's reveal last year when people were complaining, and they brought him in to kind of bring it back to that classic Halo feel, I guess. So
Okay.
now he's the new creative director, so that might be what you're thinking. So they open up and we get to see Zeta Halo and that Vista, which is just beautiful.
Oh, it's
Um,
gorgeous.
Now I remember last year they had some pop-ins. Like how it starts to load, you see that pop in, and I think that was one of the complaints people had. There was none of that this year.
Oh, definitely not. It was completely smooth.
Yeah, it was very smooth, and they show a base, and I wanted to start with this. And it looked like a UNSC base, and there were some guys patrolling, holding assault rifles or sniper rifles, whatever. And it looked like there was a mongoose sitting right there that had like a launch, like a pad that it came
Hmm.
from. And there's a little weapons crate off to the side that had a little holographic of an assault rifle. And so I'm wondering if it's going to be a base that you can go and find to restock up, because I think it's supposed to be a explorable game. They want to make it feel immersive. So I don't think it'll be like Halo 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to call it, where it's like pick this mission, that's what you're loading into. You're on Zeta
Right.
Halo, and it also had a really bright green green beam that I didn't notice until I watched someone else's video doing a reaction. And they said, I wonder if it's gonna be like a waypoint. So you'd be like, okay, I need ammo. I could use a warthog, whatever it is, to get around.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, it's over there. I'm gonna go ahead and start heading that way. They can pick up all that stuff. But yeah, so when we see the Vista, we see the base, we see all the guys. It looks like we could get some gear from it. Maybe it is a cinematic or something to that degree. And then they pan up and go over the mountain, and then you see a brute encampment of the banished enemy type. And I
Hmm.
thought that was cool. And then you see this pelican just come straight down, and
Yeah.
it shows you that Halo, like what you expect a Halo, just the sandbox of
Just
what it
pure
looks
war.
like, and pure, yeah. Well, it's just beautiful, like the landscape. So I'm excited about that. One thing they started doing too is introducing. They showed Chief, and he jumps kind of into a space kind of area, or at least somewhere with no
Yeah.
gravity. And the graphics, if you look really closely, which I of course did, his armor is battle damage. I mean, yes, it's a new armor for him that's kind of familiar, but it's a newer version. There, you can see like certain scrapes on the side of his like head or his helmet, and like on his shoulder, I believe there was, and some other spots. But he's all spinning through, and you see like dead things, and he's slowly moving them. And then you hear someone say, "You only have one shot up against an army," and he's like, "I told you it's enough," or something to that. And he grabs a fusion coil
Yeah.
and throws it, and then
And it
I just
explodes
thought,
and shoots him forward.
yeah. And then he
Yeah.
starts like moving across enemies and grabbing their ammo and reloading, and then he finds an assault rifle, and then you hear Cortana talking. Now I don't know how far you got into the campaign of Halo 5. Did you beat it?
Oh, I beat it. I
Okay, I
played like
figured.
3 times.
So it sounds like it's from Cortana 1.0, as I'll call
Mhm.
her, talking about if you knew you were going to die, what would you do?
Yeah.
And we see him kind of do a little jump thing into, we see him do the grapple. They did a great shot where they did the third person, and then all
And
of a
you
sudden
see
he
his
does the
arm just
grapple, and it turns into first person, and it
yeah.
launches him, and he does everything like that and lands. And then we get to see him talking to Cortana 2.0. And I guess her nickname is the Weapon. That's what her designation kind of is. And
Cortanas?
the new Cortana that he spoke to in the trailer.
Okay,
She's
because
still
I was
Cortana.
confused on who that was.
Yeah, so it sounded like Cortana, but her cadence of speaking was a little bit different.
Yeah, there was
Um,
a slight change
mhm.
in her voice for
And
sure.
she was very formal. She's not this fun, outgoing kind of person that we know as much. So it'd be interesting to see more of that. But I like it because it tells you if it was any other AI, it would be like, well, we want Cortana. Well, you're getting
Yeah.
Cortana, but you're not getting our Cortana. You're getting a new Cortana. And I'm wondering if they're going to somehow merge the two to create one good Cortana at the end of the whole story. Because Cortana is a villain right now.
Yeah, it's kind of so if you think about it, uh, it's kind of like the Age of Ultron type situation. You
Yes,
know,
with
like with
Vision.
Ultron, and he tries to take well, not just Vision, but with Jarvis. You know, he tries to take over,
Hmm.
and he starts hurting Jarvis, and so Jarvis runs away, and Ultron takes over the internet pretty much.
Right.
So it's the same kind of concept where they're like, "Oh yeah, we wanted to destroy her, but she's gone. Like she's not here anymore.
Yeah,
So
they
I'm
mentioned
here."
that she was deleted,
Yeah,
but
they
also
tried to
made it
delete her.
sound like right. That's what made it sound like is that they deleted her, but well, obviously it didn't work
Yeah,
because Cortana 2.0 is still there. The weapon is still
exactly.
there, and
Yeah.
Chief seems almost, I'd say, pleased that Cortana 1.0 isn't gone. Like he wants to save her,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which I get. I mean, the relationship between Cortana and Master Chief, and I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. I always like for the last few years before Halo Infinite was announced. After Halo 5, I said, you know, it'd be a great ending to the story if they were going to end it. Cortana is rampant evil. She's doing something that's going to end the world, and the only thing that can, because she now has a physical body, if you remember,
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that'll stop it is if Chief kills her, and they put you in first person, and you have to pull the trigger on her, and they end it because it's like a
That just
tragic
breaks my heart
romance.
just
It's
listening
like a
to it.
tragic romance, but it saves the galaxy, and he goes off, and we never hear from him again. And then they could do a spin-off, 10 years later with other Spartans. But
I
that's
don't like
okay.
that.
But let me ask you a question. They're physical, yes, but it's not like they're gonna hook up or anything like that. Their relationship
No.
is so much deeper than that. But I don't see a happy ending unless they do the whole Cortana and Cortana 2.0 merge, and then it kind of balances her to being our Cortana again, which we haven't really seen since Halo 4 when she sacrificed herself to save us, or Master Chief, I
Right.
should say. Um, so it'd be interesting to see where they go with it. Cortana 2.0, I think, is a good move, though. That is something I will put out there. Cortana 2.0, I love the idea of it. It actually is a
Just
throwback to
because it's
something.
kind of like an ease into maybe something new, and we don't get Cortana anymore.
Yeah, exactly, because it's something old and new at the same time, and it's actually a reference to Halo 4. She said, they're gonna give you a new, or it's not me, right? Like if they were to give you a new Cortana, if Halsey would let you." Something to
Mm-hmm.
that degree. I'm kind of butchering a little bit, but she said they'll probably pair you with a new AI, another Cortana model, if they'll let you.
Right.
That's exactly what they're doing. And so it's a nice callback to what Cortana actually knew was going to happen in the first place. So it'll be interesting to see how Cortana herself reacts to Cortana 2.0. It might be an Ultron Vision or Ultron
Jarvis.
Jarvis, thank you, situation where they kind of happen to fight each other. But I think again, if you can merge the two, you get Vision out of it between the
Oh, definitely.
Ultron. So hopefully we'll get something cool like that. They did make it sound like this wasn't an E3 thing, but something from last year's E3. That this is supposed to be the next Halo game for the next years, like maybe decade, the only Halo game. I'm sure they'll have spin-offs and things like that because they want to add to it like Destiny
Yeah,
style.
he did mention later on in the video um, that there was a part of the game where they just want to keep going and going and going and going for the next
Mm-hmm.
few years. So I'm excited to see what they have planned as far as, I mean, what more can you put into a Halo game for that long? Like it's just
Yeah. It might be like Avengers where they start doing like, and I haven't even beaten the main campaign, but I know of like the side stories. They might do something like that where they introduce other characters and you can follow their journey. Because
yeah,
I mean, you can't do Master Chief every season and do something new unless it's going to tie up in like 1 year, like of overall story arc that's planned out really well. But let's go ahead and talk about multiplayer because that's really where I feel like E3 shined, as well as their post video they did this morning. Um,
definitely.
it That's actually what hyped me up more than the whole 6 minutes from E3 was this 12-minute video.
Oh yeah,
So we're gonna talk about the 3 minutes or so that we got of multiplayer there and the 12 minutes today merging together just so that way it's all one multiplayer. First thing I want to talk about is they got rid of red versus blue. Did you notice that?
yeah. It's all customizable.
I don't know how I feel about that because if you're looking to please classic Halo fans, it's always been red versus blue. But games like Destiny and I hear Gears does this where it's completely customizable and it's actually not that different. Like you don't really notice it. Like you get used to it pretty quickly. It sounds like there
Yeah.
should be a slight outline. And if you watch one of the videos, I think it was from E3's video, um, he had like the bulldog, I think it's called, which is now the mini shotgun because the full
Oh
shotgun's not
yeah.
in this one. He kills him and he grabs a weapon off, and it's when he goes like the guy goes on the bridge, he's shooting him and he like throws the um,
Sticky grenade.
he throws a regular grenade, but first he throws like a blue radar thing.
Oh yeah.
But when you first see him, it's a red outline. So he bulldogs the guy, shotguns the guy, picks up the weapon. An enemy runs in front of him to go across the bridge, and the guy's outlined in red. And then they go over, and then you can still kind of see it. So I thought that was really interesting that they said we're not doing that. I actually like it overall. I think
Yeah.
because there's times where it's like, well, I want to be a blue Spartan. That's just who I am. I'm a blue
Mm-hmm.
Spartan. Or sometimes I feel like a black Spartan. But having where now you can just choose, I think it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna make the game look and feel fresh.
Oh yeah, and I think that's a great idea to go with because, like, uh, Halo Reach, one of
Mm-hmm.
my all-time favorites. Love the
Absolutely.
campaign. I mean, even multiplayer, you can customize your armor.
Oh yeah, that had the best customization yet, and that game came out 11 years ago.
Like, my gamer tag. Like,
Mm.
every character I try to have, I like to match it up. So it'd be red, white, and blue.
That's gonna be easily doable this time, I'm sure.
Exactly. That's what I love.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of nice. And going, continuing forward with customization, if you don't mind.
Oh, of course. I think that customization is actually gonna be a big deal.
Oh, it's huge as far as like you can customize every tiny little part of your armor.
And that's the first time we've been able to do something like that since Reach, probably. Because I think 4 gave you basically one armor set. You might be able to choose a few things.
Uh, what was it? Uh, Pfizer. Oh, uh, you can change your own personal AI to fit your character.
That is a huge thing for me because
Yeah,
we've never had our own AI. It's always been Cortana, and then we just have the announcer for multiplayer in general.
yeah.
And now we're going to have something that's going to have different voices,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to have different, I'm sure, styles too. Like one that's going to be like, hell yeah, like blah, blah, blah. They've had announcer stuff before, actually, in Halo Reach. They did it for Firefight only, what your voice was.
Yeah.
And then in Halo 5, they had it where, like, Buck, who's played by Nathan Fillion,
Mm-hmm.
he's my announcer in Halo 5. So, like, oh, nice
I think
double
he's
or
mine
something
too.
like that, or something like that. And then they have like grunt, and then they have like an monitor, like one of the Forerunner monitors. And I'm like, you need more to this. And I think that's what we're gonna get with that. And think about it this way: let's say they launch and they have 5 or 6 or 7 different AIs. they can add more over time. And
Yeah, definitely.
and maybe when you beat the game or after 1 year, if you unlock the battle pass all the way, you get Cortana as your multiplayer, which would be freaking dope.
Yeah, it would.
It's like, oh, that's a nice double you got. But then you got Cortana 1.0 and Cortana 2.0, and maybe even an evil Cortana. You could kind of mix around with that,
Mm-hmm.
where she's like, oh, looks like you killed 2 more Spartans. Thanks for helping me, or something like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, but I
I mean,
thought having your own AI was a big deal for sure.
yeah, everything. I mean, every little detail of that game is going to be customizable. I
Hmm.
mean, from your visor to your gloves to your boots to your shoulder pads,
Do you want to know one thing
everything.
else I think will be customizable?
What's that?
Your HUD. Did you notice in all the gameplay, they didn't actually show your HUD? They didn't show like your radar. They didn't show
No,
your
they
health
just
bar. They
showed
just
like your
showed your
teammates and stuff.
yeah, and they showed like the gun and like when you zoomed in, but they did not and your little point score that happens on the side and your little thing, but they didn't show the HUD for a single multiplayer frame. And there's a reason for that. And I've been actually saying that they should do this for years is having your own customizable HUD. Because like let's say you have I don't know if you remember the Q or we'll say ODST armor, right? Because it's one of the most common ones that people like.
Right.
Their helmet when you play ODST is very different than your helmet when you play Halo 3 and you have the Master Chief's armor. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how it should be because your visor is different. So if you have the CQB, which is more like a Y looking thing, you should have it have just a little faint outline to make it look like that's what it is.
Yeah, that'd
Um,
be cool.
I think they're going to, and they're just not revealing it yet. They should have revealed it because I think it would have made it like another thing, like, dude, you get HUDs, but I think they're just trying to give us breadcrumbs until release. Um, that is something I think is going to be cool. One thing that they're changing from Halo 5 is the aim down sights. So like Reach, you hold down the left trigger and you're aiming down the whole
Yeah.
time, right? They're not doing that. They're doing the zoom in from old classic Halo from 1 to Reach, which
Wow.
I'm a big Destiny fan, as you know, and I've been so used to it from Halo 5 and Destiny to do the ADS. I don't know how I feel about that, but I think it's going to please classic fans, and I'm
I'll
okay
bet
with
you
it.
anything it could be interchangeable.
Well, I think honestly, as long as you can map it to be a similar control, for me,
Yeah.
I hope you can map the whole controller because I love games that let you do that. If I can just hold down the left trigger because that's my ADS sight and that zooms in for me, I'm good with it. But it will take me some like if I have a pistol, it's going to take me a minute to not hold the left trigger and throw a grenade or something instead because I'm just used to it, or it might get me killed because it's zooming in. I'm not meaning to. I'm just meaning to get that perfect sight. Um, one thing I want to say is that the armor also looks freaking amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Halo 5's armor just looked too, I want to say clean, but almost fake in comparison to what other Halos have had. Like Reach had this gritty armor style, and I think that's what also made the customization really great and stand
Yeah.
out. Whereas now it looks like it was in Halo Reach 10 years ago, but modernized, and that's what we want. We
So
want that
nice.
gritty armor. The also like the armor skins you can kind of get that looks like the um, jungle coating or
Oh
whatever, the
yeah.
camouflage.
Yeah.
And I think they're gonna have other ones too. And they kind of did a skin thing in Halo 4, and I think that when you merge everything together like this, it's just gonna make a beautiful amount of customizable options. Did you notice that the armor shields are yellow now?
I
They never really
did.
had a
They're not.
color before. I don't think.
I thought
Kind
they
of a
were blue.
green. Maybe in I think it just flickers. I don't know. I think it might just depend on the game, but
Yeah,
they're
maybe.
yellow, which I think I was like, well, why not green? But I'm like, actually, yellow is a pretty good color. It's very neutral. It doesn't
Yeah.
distract. Um, and let's actually, while we're talking about that, let's jump into the equipment. Equipment was something in Halo 3 that was like the bubble shield, the grav lift, radar jammer, things like that, right?
Yeah.
They're bringing them back instead of doing armor abilities like in Reach, which I think is a good thing. Some people didn't want sprint in Halo Infinite, which I think is insane. I think sprint is almost necessary for the game these days. If you
Always.
want it to be faster paced, you need to make everything move faster, including running. And being able to run is, I think, and clamber and slide and all that just allows for
Yeah.
a lot more free play. Um, I think that the equipment that they're doing, they showed where he threw like this radar thing, and it showed revealed a red outline of where the enemy was. So then he threw a grenade and it killed him, right?
Hmm.
And I think that's a really good one because it reminds me of Promethean Vision from Halo 4, where you could see through walls.
Yeah.
I like these because they made it sound like these are going to be limited things. Even the grappling hook, you're not going to be able to grapple hook all the time. You have to
No.
pick it up
Yeah.
and then grapple hook, and that's going to.
And what's cool about that? Sorry.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
What's cool about that is if you pick up something like that, like the grappling hook or
Yeah,
like a shield or something, and you don't use it, and somebody kills you, they can pick it right up and take it out of your inventory.
that is one of my favorite things that they changed is the fact that you get to choose when you use it because that's how it
Yeah.
should be, especially in Halo 5 because it shows you pick up this little orb or not orb thing, this little puck looking thing like a hockey puck.
Yeah.
And you stick it on your chest. But if I don't need to use invisibility yet because I just killed everyone in the room to get invisibility, or I don't need overshield yet because it's just going to start draining. But if you know you're
Right.
about to go into an enemy base and steal that flag, boom, overshield time. Go in there, do what you got to do, or
Yeah.
invisibility, and it's going to give you that extra edge. And I think that is something that is game changing. I can't believe I didn't even think of it.
It makes me think of like an RPG where you have those things in your inventory. You have a certain power that you can use,
Or
like a
potion.
shield or something, and then exactly,
Yeah.
and then you use it whenever you need to, whenever you go into this big battle or something.
No, and I think it's great because it now changes it from being a power up to being equipment, and that's how it
Right.
should be. And they
Yeah.
have that bubble wall. I don't remember what they call it. There's a specific name they have for it instead of the bubble shield, which I like because then you can kind of throw grenades over it. Or like you
Mm-hmm.
saw, there was a guy who did a grappling in one of the multiplayer clips as a guy threw a sticky grenade on him and he landed
Oh
behind the
yeah.
shield and it killed them both. So I think the fact they're getting rid of the shield bubble shield completely, they're just making it like, hey, this is just giving you something for cover.
Right.
It doesn't feel like it's game breaking, but strategy and tactic changing. And that's kind of what they said they wanted to go for, especially like the grappling hook, which I thought was going to really change multiplayer. If everyone could do it at any given time, which is what I thought it was going to be when it first got announced, I was like, I don't know about this. But the fact that you can grapple into enemy territory like the guy did with the hammer and then just start banging away inside the hill or whatever it is, I think is going to make it really cool and a lot of fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, while we're in this topic,
Yeah.
just moving forward, vehicles
Mm-hmm.
fully customizable.
Yep.
One thing I'm absolutely excited about is you can like airdrop your vehicles in
Mm-hmm.
with the Pelicans.
I don't know if they're going to make it where you can do it. I think it's going to be a timed thing.
Well, right, no. So
Kind of like when
you can
guns
call them in.
respawn.
That's what I thought. What it was.
Maybe.
You spawn in your own vehicles, and then the Pelican just drops it
I
there.
wonder if that's gonna be a specific game mode because Warzone had something like that, which is from
Yeah,
Halo
they did.
5. But I thought it was just like when like sniper spawns, it's gonna spawn where it's supposed to spawn, but now instead of it just appearing out of thin air, it's going to drop from a pelican like the old Halo 2 drop pods from the Delta Halo mission. And so you'll have
Yeah,
to run up there and get there before someone else and pick them up. And I'm sure they'll have like a smoke trail or something that'll come down so you'll see where it is for those newer players who don't know where the weapons spawn.
right. Because they did mention that it's not going to be they just spawn at the base. They
Right.
said they're going to be everywhere.
Yeah. So maybe it randomizes too, which
Yeah,
that would
maybe
be.
that would be kind of cool.
I don't know how I feel. I think
Because
for certain game modes I would like that, but I think for standard Slayer I want weapons to spawn where they're supposed to spawn. Even if they do the drop pod, I'm cool with the drop pod. I think that's a cool idea.
I think it would seem more realistic if they did it randomly, just because I don't like it. Those people that just sit around spawn points and start shooting
Mm-hmm.
people so they can get into it. I mean, it's war and you're supposed to fight for it. I get that, but
Well, it could even spawn randomly around your base. Like it's gonna spawn at blue base if you're blue team, right? Because they're still doing
right,
teams. I don't know if you noticed that. Like they had a blue flag and a red flag. I think they're still red team, blue team, but it's just a matter of everyone's gonna be. You might be blue team all the time, and red team's always gonna be an enemy, like the outline. So you don't
mm-hmm.
think it's a friendly. But there's red team, blue team. Um, let's say you have blue base over here, it could just spawn somewhere around there randomly. Like let's say there's 8 spawn points, kind of like a respawn zone where you would
Right,
spawn, like how they have the little dots when you do forge. They
mm-hmm.
could do it like that, where it's like, oh, this time it's behind the base, not in front of the base. So it also makes it where you can't predict exactly where it's going to be. So you have those people who are camping and will team kill. They don't even
Makes
know where it's
sense.
going to be. So that actually might be, but
Yeah,
also because in a real war situation, you're not going to want to drop the pod all the way over to the other side.
no,
You're
definitely
going to want
not.
to drop it on here. So we'll say blue pelican's going to come over blue base and drop something around there
Yeah,
rather than in one specific spot every time. Randomizing it would actually make it feel more realistic, and that's what they said. Like they would kind of want it to be is making it feel more realistic. So I can see that being actually that's a cool idea.
yeah. And I
I
think
don't think it'd be all over the base or all over the map. Maybe for certain weapons, but like Spartan laser in the middle or something.
right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no, you're fine. Uh, they didn't really go into much detail about it, but yes, vehicles are customizable as far
Hmm.
as paints goes.
I think it's just gonna be a cosmetic, but I do like
You
that they
think
did
so?
set yes, because all the cosmetics of how you're gonna make yourself look, they said it's just cosmetic. So I think the same thing's gonna be said for the weapon skins and the vehicle skins. But one thing I thought was cool about the vehicles is like if you pop a tire off, and this is just my interpretation, it's gonna function differently. Like maybe it's a little bit slower because now it's dragging a little bit.
Right.
And then once the thing is on fire, you have a limited time to either get out or just kamikaze it into the base or the enemy or whatever it is. And they brought back choppers from Halo 3 and ODST, which was something that we haven't seen
Yeah,
since 2009. So I think that'll be interesting to have
I didn't
that.
even
But
think about that.
well, we haven't even had brutes as an enemy officially in a main Halo game since I think ODST.
Yeah.
Maybe Reach.
No,
Yeah, there was
we
Reach.
haven't
We had him in
reached.
Reach, yeah,
Yeah.
but not in 4 and not in
Uh-uh.
5 to my memory. Um, Now,
No.
I will say too, when they actually, this is something that when they showed it off today, and they didn't do this at E3, and I wish they would have. Their new 343 like opening, like like their company advertisement that they
Yeah.
do, like Microsoft Studios, whatever. It goes into a Halo background, and it looks so much cooler than their last one. But let's talk about seasons for a minute. Have you played any seasonal games? That's actually something because I'm a Destiny fan, so I mean I play seasons every season. But how many games have you played that you're like I follow the season, I try to play through a season, or at least I play these games enough to know how seasons really function enough?
Nothing like Destiny or now I guess Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have uh I have done a few seasons though, like they do have different DLCs and different campaigns and stuff like that, but for the Old Republic.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think seasonal content is the future of gaming. I
Oh,
truly do.
absolutely.
I think everyone's moving towards battle pass. That's the other thing I want to talk about real fast. Actually, kind of
Mm-hmm.
related to that is that in Halo 5 you had to buy packs and it would randomize what armor you get. And
Yep.
you just cross your fingers. You're like, well, I'm gonna get two things I need for sure, or not need, but things off of my checklist. And it
Yeah.
just felt at first it was really exciting because you're like, I want to get everything. But I don't play Warzone enough. I ended up just deleting all that shit of the
Mm-hmm.
cards
Yeah.
and just buying more packs to get the armors I actually want so I look cool. Now with this, they're making it sound like we want you to know exactly where you're getting things from. It's not random. You're not buying packs. Although they did. Now I will say I play MCC quite a bit. Halo Master Chief Collection. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably the Halo I play the most because I just love going back and playing like Halo 2 SWAT or Halo
Yeah,
3
definitely.
Big Team Battle. Sometimes they'll do seasonal stuff. They had a recon version in Halo 3 where they added the pistol from ODST and I think the SMG, and they did recon SWAT. And I tell you what, it was the funnest I'd had in Halo 3 in years. It was just a limited time thing. It was really good though. So for me, and they also added armors. I don't know if you know that they added new armors for
Yeah.
Halo 3 and new colors and visor colors for even Halo 1, weapon skins. And if you
Wait,
don't
they
like it,
added more to that?
yes, for even Halo 1. And if you didn't like it, guess what? You could just turn off the setting because it's just an overlay. And so you could play old school
So cool.
Halo. And let's say, like me, like I'm a classic fan, right? So let's say I
Right.
didn't like it, which I actually do. I love new content. Let's say I hated it. I can make it where you just look like a green Spartan with or a gold visor, and I look like a whatever. And then you can make it where you have purple visor and this, and your weapon skin is a pizza thing or whatever it is, like they did in Halo 5,
Yeah.
you could turn that off or turn that on, which I think is
And
great.
that's cool.
The thing I got to say that I think 343 was really smart with MCC, aside from the whole thing being just a beautiful thing. Obviously, it didn't have a great launch, but they've really fixed it up since then. But the fact that they keep adding content, and not only that, started adding seasons. They were testing out infinite ideas in MCC. And the little battle pass thing was
Mm-hmm.
they would have like 100 things you can unlock, right? And you could basically unlock anything in any order within that first frame of 10. So you could go, oh, I want that emblem first. Oh, and I want this armor piece or that weapon skin. But you couldn't move on to 11 through 20 until you've done all through 1 through 10.
Right.
And I think that's going to be how they're going to do it. Destiny has a battle pass, but it's in order. They call it a season pass, I think, or they've got their own name for it, but where they have a free ranking system and a premium.
Hmm.
I think Halo's going to do something similar for seasonal content. I'm cool with it because they're no longer getting money from the packs. The game's free to play basically, except for the campaign.
Yeah, campaign you just have to buy. Um, One thing I am excited about Battle Passes though is you get to keep them.
Yes,
Like you buy them, you own them for good until you get rid of them.
or yeah, until you finish them. And see,
Yeah,
that's the thing I don't like with Destiny's current system, that it creates FOMO, fear of missing out, because you're like, oh shit, I got to get this done before the season is over. Otherwise, I'm not gonna get that armor I want, or I'm not gonna get this thing. I don't like that. I really want to be able to enjoy it, and that's what they did with MCC when they did these new seasonal
yeah,
passes. I can go back to the first one and get the stuff they did just was mainly Halo One focused, or I can go back and do the stuff that was like Halo Three. Oh, actually they did Fireteam Raven. Did you ever play the arcade Halo game yet?
no,
Really fun.
is it?
Yes. They have that, and they got all the ODST armors from all the main characters, and now you can unlock that in Halo 3 through their own season pass. So they tested a lot of stuff in MCC to go to Infinite to see how it works. The fact that you have to pay for Battle Pass, great, no problems with that. The fact that you get to keep your Battle Pass, fantastic. It gets rid of FOMO completely, and that's one of the things I hate about Destiny seasonal content is it's felt like FOMO, and they know that. They've already announced that they're trying to fix that, that
Yeah.
you can start getting stuff from previous seasons. But I do like that you can go through the Waypoint app or site to customize your Spartan. I don't know if you noticed that. I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
No random loot. We already talked about. Battle Pass never expires.
Oh,
And theme
one major
seasons.
thing.
Yeah.
One major thing that I'm super happy about. One, it's cross-platform,
Yes.
so you get to play with anybody on any system.
And cloud gaming is going to be a part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the next thing I'm just going to talk about. The fact that you can go from one console to the other, or to even just to PC, and you can transfer all your stuff.
Yeah. I
You
think
keep
it's
it.
yeah, and you get it. So you can be like, oh, I feel like playing on PC today. And you know what? When Destiny went, or not Destiny, Master Chief Collection again, trying to be the forefront of trying to figure out what they can do, they made it to where you can play PC versus Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, you gotta go. I'm sorry, I love you. Um, but I thought PC's gonna dominate us. This isn't gonna be fair because you always hear how much better it is to play on PC. But then you go to
Right.
when I've actually played against PC players. Now, keep in mind, I consider myself to be a fairly skilled Halo player. I don't think I'm the best. I'm not pro or anything like that, but I do feel like I can hold my own.
You're definitely better than
In
me.
no comment. But it's true, all of it. So, anyways, but the fact that I played against them and I didn't feel like I was at a disadvantage at all against. So I think it's just preference between PC versus
Yeah, for
Xbox.
sure.
I
Like
thought it was
there's
going
a
to be night and day, but it's not.
no, it's completely different. I from playing.
Maybe from you as a player, but I mean like you fighting against someone of a different console or PC. I didn't feel any different when I played Halo,
No.
and so I think
Um.
that's a good thing.
Yeah. It's difficult though because a lot of people that I know play with a controller on PC, which makes no
Hmm.
sense to me. Um.
That's how I would do it if I was playing PC for higher graphics or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. But there's also that difference as far as the player preference goes.
Hmm.
Um. Like I started playing Warzone on PC. Huge difference.
Like you're better at it, or
No, no, I'm much worse.
I was gonna say I can't imagine doing that mouse thing, and then you have to run using WASD and all that.
See, I'm used to computer games. Like I've been doing computer games most of my life, but uh, like fast-paced shooters like that, I would have to continue to play to be able to get where I am now on Xbox. Huge difference as far as player preference goes.
Yeah, I think it's but for me playing MCC with the crossplay, which you could turn
Mhm.
off by the way, it was a setting, and I'm sure they're going to implement that in Infinite. Probably, we'll see. But the fact that they're saying, "Hey, now you can play on your phone," which means you don't even have to own an Xbox to play Halo
Yeah,
in the future. I mean, you have to have like right now it's in beta, but they're working on it. Apparently, Apple didn't want them to. They wanted to kind of re-trademark everything through them or do something where they had to republish it. So I think they could get certain fees or however that
yeah,
works. So Microsoft said, "Okay, we're just gonna make it a browser thing," and they couldn't do nothing. And so like I've actually tried playing Halo Master Chief Collection on my phone, my Wi-Fi sucks, so I can't really. I need to fix that. I'm hardwired on my Xbox, so I'll be fine to play.
Oh, okay.
But as far as my phone, it'd be nice to be, I want to customize my Spartan. You know what? I don't want to do it on the app. I want to do it like, let's say the app doesn't work very well. I could do it on my phone, or I could be like, oh, I want to go do an achievement. Oh, I just gotta collect
Hmm.
skulls. I could put it on easy and run around while I'm waiting at the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Or I could play multiplayer with you if the doctor's office, which usually has really good Wi-Fi in my experience. I could play with you. You're on your Xbox. We can play with our friend Matt. He's on
Yeah.
PC. We can all play together, play co-op or play whatever. They did announce that they are bringing back um, Forge and Theater. It kind of glossed
Hmm.
over it. That's not as big surprise. It's actually expected. I do like that the Forge has always improved over the years.
Yeah,
I remember
absolutely.
Halo 3. It was so hard to use. Reach was like magnetic, and so they
I
like
remember Reach.
so, but it's gonna come out day one Game Pass, on Game Pass, which I have, so I'm not even paying for the game. I'll probably eventually buy the collector's edition, whatever it is, like the statue. Like
Yeah.
what I did with Halo 5, they wanted 250 for the thing. I'm like, I'm not spending 250. I'll spend 150. So I bought the game for $60 standard. Waited like a year. Found the brand new Halo 5 collector's edition for $75 because they're just trying to clearance them out. So I ended up spending less than $150, and I got
Wow.
two versions of the game, or two copies, which I ended up trading one for Fallout 4.
I should have
So
talked to you first
yeah, that's what I ended up
because
doing.
I bought the Halo 5 edition,
Yeah, it's super cool.
Xbox One.
Oh, I don't have the Xbox One edition. I just have the statue that has Master Chief. It's like yay tall, and
Oh no, I don't
that's
have
what I was
that.
talking about.
Oh, well, so I bought my Xbox
Mm.
like 48 hours before Halo 5 came out. So I
Oh,
bought it and it came with a little statue of, from memory, it looks like a giant like dragon type thing
oh,
from
the
Halo 5.
metal Guardian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, obviously it's called Guardians.
that's all good.
I should have thought about that. But
That's all
yeah.
good.
Um yeah, those cool. Those are way cool. Those little
Yeah.
statues.
Well, one thing I also want to jump into, kind of change the topics a little bit here, is the academy that they announced, which is
Yeah.
going to be like a onboarding process for new players to be able to kind of get a hold of the game, almost like a tutorial mission of sorts. But they also made it sound like that they did actually announce is that there's going to be bots in the game for the first time that you can kind of implement into your own little custom game to practice.
Hmm.
And it's gonna be great. Like if you want, it sounds like you could practice certain weapons. So if you say, "I want to be a better sniper," guess what? Now you have a zone to do that. You just have it, and they'll be running across. You're just like, boom, boom, and you could mess with your settings in that
Yeah.
area, whether you need a better sensitivity. Because like I find when I play as a sniper, I almost need to adjust my sensitivity a little bit because it can't move as fast. Depending on the game and what version
Hmm.
and whatnot and what weapon. Um, but that would be really cool. Also,
Yeah.
for it to give you more of a story as to you are Spartan training, go. Weapon drills will be fun. I hope they will come up with ways for you to earn armor or points towards your battle pass for doing so. So, like, if you can get 100 kills over the course of a season in Academy doing the bots, kill 100 bots, you get 100 points towards your battle pass or however that
Hmm.
works. I hope they will do that, but I can see why they wouldn't because it's not officially, they don't want people to spam that all day. So make it almost worth very little. So that way you
That
don't,
makes more sense.
yeah, because otherwise you're just gonna XP grind the shit out of it. Or
Right.
just
Yeah.
say you don't get season pass grinds, but you can unlock certain armors that are like the Academy armor, something like that.
That'd be kind of cool. Kind of like how they have it like uh my first thought would be like Star Trek where they have like the Academy outfits
Hmm.
versus what they wear on like the starships and stuff, you know.
Right. So that'd be cool if you can unlock a special armor just doing a little bit of everything throughout that. Like maybe get a shoulder piece from doing the weapon drills. Killing X
Hmm.
amount of combat bots gets you the helmet.
That makes you look like the thing now that I think about it makes me think if they'll do like the armor from what is it? What's that series that they came out with?
I have
New
no idea.
Dawn. What's it called?
Oh, Forward Unto Dawn, the
Yeah,
Halo
Forward
series.
Unto Dawn. Yeah, those Academy suits that they wear when they train. Those white ones.
Oh yeah. The Academy suits. I don't think they'll let you use anything like that in the game unless they let you customize your face. But I think that's unnecessary.
I
Just
would
give us the
think
Spartan helmets and armors. Um,
maybe like ODST
yeah,
armor type stuff.
It'd be really cool to see what they do with it. And
Yeah,
here's the thing: every season, I think they're going to add a new one. One of the helmets that I have kind of learned to love recently is the Mark V, the original Master Chief helmet, but of my own
absolutely.
version. Um, I didn't see it in the trailers at all, so I think it's gonna be something that is gonna be like a seasonal thing to be like get the classic Halo armor,
Hmm.
like that's part of the battle pass or whatever. They did show off the samurai armor, which looks sick.
Oh yeah. Oh, that
Looks
looks
so
so good.
good. They also showed that you can actually use, and I don't think you could do it in Halo 5, where you could throw a grenade, and it will push the weapons out, like how the samurai guy
Yeah.
threw a plasma grenade and caught the energy sword. I don't know if you remember that. That was something that there's a medal in it for, I think it's in Master Chief Collection. It's called Combat Evolved. And if you throw a plasma grenade like on a sniper spawn and it blows and you catch it, it's a actual medal you get in the
Man,
game.
that's cool.
Yes. The last thing I really want to talk about is just how accessible they're making the game. From being on Game Pass to having free to play multiplayer, which is
Hmm.
what most people play anyways. And I think Xbox came out recently and said any free to play games, Fortnite, the works, you won't need Xbox Live for. I think. Don't quote me on
Yeah.
that. If that's the case, you literally just need an internet connection to play Halo because you have cloud gaming. And if you have a console, all you need is internet and an
Right.
Xbox to
Yeah.
play Halo. And I think that is the right move to make it. I think free to play, even Destiny's free to play now. I think free to play, battle pass,
It
seasonal
is.
content is the future of gaming. And I think Halo doing that is the right move.
Hmm. I
Um,
agree.
it's just a matter of any barriers that they make where you have to pay for the paid content. Like if they're going to do more seasonal content that might be say campaign content, how much is
Hmm.
that going to be, or does that come with Game Pass? They haven't really revealed a roadmap, but they made it sound like they're going to do new game modes, new armors every season, which is kind of what Destiny does. They do one new game mode usually per season. Usually
Right.
there's like a raid, new armors, new battle pass, of course. But again, there's that bit of FOMO because they a lot of times they'll remove the old content at the end of the season. They've been kind of changing that up a little bit. I keep comparing it to Destiny, but that's kind of the direction that they're going, and that's the other main franchise that I play. That's similar to Halo. It
Yeah.
seems like they're moving to that, but they're not going to go full RPG with it. And I
You don't
think
think so?
keeping it not the level of Destiny where like you have to go get this weapon, go do this quest, I don't think we're gonna get quests like that. We'll get achievements. We might have like battle pass quests, like get 100 things of this. But I
Hmm.
think keeping it streamlined, keeping it easy, keeping it simple, casual, just play multiplayer for free no matter where you are, whether you're on PC or console, I think is great. And having it on Game Pass makes it accessible for everybody in terms of those who have it for the campaign. It's just like, oh, you can get Game Pass
Yeah,
for a
they just
month and
want
play it.
everyone to be friends with everyone.
That's the right move because they want Halo to be what it was. It will
Yeah.
never be what it was, but they want it to be part of the future. In
Right.
the changes they're making, free to play, which is the first time ever.
I
They're
mean,
bringing split screen back too. They got rid of that in Halo 5.
I didn't know they were bringing that back.
People got so pissed about it because they're like, you want me to buy it for another Xbox and another copy of the game in a franchise that has been known for, at that point, 15, 14 years, crossplay or not crossplay, cross or split screen.
Yeah.
That's what made Halo work was split screen LAN parties. Even just split screen. That's what made me want to play Halo more to be
Yeah,
better than the
definitely.
other people I played with. And then Xbox Live came out with Halo 2, and then it just expanded. That's another thing that they didn't really talk about that I think they will down the road is ranking system. I'm curious to know what the ranking system is because Halo 2 had the best ranking system I liked, where you play for an hour to barely. If you won a lot, you'd go up a level. But if you lost like 3 games in a row, you're back down that next level. It was
Yeah.
very brutal. Like I think I hit the 20s. And then Halo 3 was a little bit easier. They had the military rankings, which wasn't too bad. I think I got into the 40s. And
It
then
definitely let up on Reach for sure.
Reach was just you play, you
Yeah.
play. They had this arena thing, but the ranking system sucked. Like I would actually like mathematically like figure out what I should be based on my wins and everything. It would like say I was this and that. It didn't seem as very accurate, so I kind of stopped. And then Reach, not Reach 4, it was just play. I don't think they had a skill based ranking. They kind of added it towards the end of its life cycle, but it was almost too late by then. MCC kind of has it, but they've reset it a few times, so I haven't really pushed on it too much. I don't have that many friends who play the classic Halos, And then
Yeah.
when you go to Halo 5, their ranking system is only seasonal, and it's how good you did that season. I'm okay with that as long as they keep it like you're basically this level. But they also had a rank where basically you had to be in the top 1,000 people in the world, the top 500 or something like that. And I'm like, that's not even obtainable by most
No,
people.
it's
That's a
not. Definitely not.
leaderboard at that point. If you want to have a leaderboard somewhere, that's fine. Like on your website, on your app, don't make it somewhere where you feel like, oh, I see this thing inside the game I cannot attain.
We talked about everything I had written down on my notes.
I know we kind of blew through that.
Yeah.
Kind of Yeah, I think we got just about everything. I did one other thing is the storage warthog, where the Razorback, where you could actually
Oh yeah. I was gonna
carry,
mention that.
yeah, where you can carry like a rocket launcher, so you don't have to hold it in the thing. Because you don't really normally need a rocket launcher in a warthog, especially if you're on the turret.
Yeah.
But I wonder, like, if it blows up, do the weapons blow up, or do they just kind of go around there and then like
I would
enemies
assume they
can
probably go
swarm
around
it
it.
and pick it up?
Yeah, I
You
would
know,
assume
that'd be
that'd
cool.
probably be like
I'm
that.
doing a lot of Halo sign language here. Just reloading here. So they didn't announce a Halo Xbox, which I was kind of hoping for. That's why I haven't bought a new Xbox yet. I still have the
Yeah.
Xbox One X, but now that I know that they're not, at least for now, I'm planning on buying one as soon as I can, if I can
Yeah,
find
definitely
one.
for sure.
I bought a 4K screen last season or last holiday season instead of a new Xbox, so I could be prepared for Halo. So
Yeah, I'll probably buy it on PC.
the game, or
Yeah,
if you have Game Pass, you won't have to.
I know.
Or you could actually just get Game Pass for a month, play the campaign, and then just play free to play. To be honest,
Yeah, that's
like
probably a good idea.
you really don't have to. I do it because Destiny's on there,
Mhm.
as well as they got like all the Skyrim games are gonna be on there now, or the Elder Scrolls, I should say, because
Yeah.
now they have Bethesda, which means we're also getting all the Fallout games. Game Pass is really sick. If you don't have it, this is for all the listeners out there as well as you. At least check it out, and you should
No,
get
I
it
love Game Pass.
periodically. Like if you know there's a game coming out, you're like, oh, it's gonna be on Game Pass day one. Get Game Pass for 2-3 months.
I actually have a code for it, so
Oh,
I
good.
just haven't used it.
Guess what? You have a perfect time to use it this fall or this holiday season, as they call it. That's one thing that does drive me a little nuts. I wish
Just
they
think about it.
gave
It's
us
either between
November or
September and
something.
December.
Right. I don't think it'll be
It's
December.
that,
I
I
think
don't
if they
know.
don't release it on November 15th, it'll be a huge issue. Okay, maybe not huge, but it'll be like a missed opportunity. Release it the 20th anniversary, the next 10 years of Halo, celebrating the beauty of the last 20 years.
Mhm.
I don't know what they're going to do with Halo 5. Like Master Chief Collection, they keep adding stuff to. Are they going to incorporate Halo 5 into Master Chief so you just have those two classic Halos and this? Or is you going to have to jump between the three?
No, I think
I think
they'll
it'll
leave
see.
it probably as it is.
I think so too.
That way, Halo 5 stays its own separate game from everything else.
But that means it's not going to get played. That's my honest opinion. I haven't played Halo 5 in a minute.
I haven't either.
I play more MCC than I do Halo 5 because I can just jump between all the Halos. I love going between Reach. I love the the system that they have with the progression of, like I said, the battle pass testing. When I play Halo MCC, I see these new seasons they're doing. I'm seeing basically the future seeds of Halo Infinite. They're testing it out here, which is a great place for them to try it out. If it doesn't work, guess what? We're not going to put that in Infinite. Or what works, we're going to keep that Infinite. They kept the seasons, and I love that. And now they're starting to do where you get armors that you can get for a season. You get certain points, you could buy it. It's like this rhino gemstone looking one that I just bought on Halo 3. It's cool because
cool.
it's like, when's the last time you got a new thing on Halo 3?
Yeah.
2009 maybe. So we're excited. I'm probably going to try to get some more videos out, just going in detail over every little thing that was maybe missed, all the different armor types that were recognized, all the weapons, maps.
Yeah, and if there's anything you saw and we didn't cover, or if there's something you're excited about, share it. We'd love to hear.
Absolutely. I will point out one last thing. I did notice it looked like a spiritual successor to Valhalla. Was that big team battle map? That's the only map that looked familiar, but I really loved the map that looked like a sandy, deserted city. That map looks so cool.
Yeah.
Like all the maps look good, but that was the map that I was really drawn to, where it has like that little courtyard and there's like that building in the center. And I feel like it's going to be a great map.
It's gonna be
but
awesome.
it is. But with that, I just want to say thank you so much for listening or watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe to our channel. It really helps us out more than you can imagine. Help us grow our brand. So thank you for watching, and until next time, just play.